I'm going to hit record. You got it. All right, here we go.
Sure.
Let's have some fun.
Welcome, everybody. Hi. Come on in.
Everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Be sure to pop in the gallery view.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Glenn.
Oh,
It's good morning for those of us in the APAC, Australia, Asia Pacific. It's evening for those of us on the East Coast of the North Americas. It's the middle of the night for our Europeans, so you won't see any of them here today. You guys will be watching the recordings unless you're a serious insomniac or a night owl. Good to see everyone's late afternoon for those of us on the West Coast of the US. So we're excited to have you here today. Welcome. This is meant to be a fun and interactive come as you are experience. And so do feel free to pop in your, turn on your camera and click it into gallery view if you want to, so you can see each other. And we love around here at MEA to use the chat feature. And some people find they're annoyed by the chat. So if you're annoyed by it, just turn it off. But it's a nice way to feel connected to each other. And very excited to welcome Tom McCook today to offer this course for us. I'm going to actually, if you do the admit lesson, I'll put us up on the spotlight because we have enough of you now loading up here that I'm going to put us up on the spotlight. So my name is Carrie Henley. I help to run all of the digital side of MEA and have been so excited behind the scenes putting together
participants reactions.
And I'm going to mute everybody who's not Tom or me. There we go. Tom, it's so good to have you here. We're going to have all of you pop in the chat so Tom can see two questions. So one is, pop in the chat, where are you in the world? It's really fun to see how many people are here from all over the world right now. So where are you in the world? And then the second question is, have you ever done any work with Tom McCook? Have you ever seen one of his videos or participated in anything that Tom has done? We're curious to find out. And have fun looking at the chat from all, I'm a first timer. Yay, JS, great, welcome. We love to have fun here. Oh, Bob is asking a question. Go ahead, Bob. You have a question? You just have to unmute. No? Okay. If you do, let me know. You can throw it in the chat. So welcome, everybody. If you are new to the MEA community, welcome. MEA is a modern wisdom school for all those in our second adulthood and beyond. We are committed to reframing aging, to purpose, to transitions, wellness. And so here we are. We're really excited to be featuring Tom with a series of free gifts for you to experience his idea of embodied movement. No matter where you are in your level of fitness, no matter what age you are, you're going to learn something today with Tom, who is such an extraordinary teacher. And we'll be offering opportunities to see more and experience more of Tom's work, both in a virtual workshop that we're launching later in August, as well as a week with Tom in Baja. And I know Steve's here, Chip's dad's here, Cookie's here. We've got a bunch of alumni here, which is great. If you're an MEA alumni, feel free to say hi in the chat. We have a great community that are all curious and wise and committed to growing and connecting in authentic ways. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Tom. And I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you again so much for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for taking this time to be with me today and with MEA. I'm very excited about offering this course. And this is my first time offering this course for MEA online. I have a studio called Center of Balance in Mountain View, California for the last 25 years with my wife, Karen. It's a Pilates and movement studio, awareness studio, and physical therapy. And I've been teaching for 35 years. And it's been my passion since I was in my early 20s. And over all those years I've been teaching, I've been in the question is, how do I make movement more accessible to everybody so they can get the most out of whether they're taking a class or how to help themselves? I'm also a somatic coach and a Franklin method educator. And the Franklin method has been the bridge for me with my Pilates and teaching people how to use their body better, because it's a system of using imagery about our own design and movement. So you learn about anatomy, but through experiencing it. And then you can apply it to anything that you're doing. And I found that so useful because if you consider whatever we put our attention on, it enhances awareness. So when you have some useful information about your body, then you apply it to movement, you have the ability to self-correct and upgrade how your body works. And our body is really brilliant. And I'm really excited to share that with you. And the course today is going to be, well, our time today, because it's short, will just be a smattering of some of the lessons that will be in the longer sessions we have if you decide to take the course. But this standalone is also useful. So we'll do some stuff on the pelvis, on the hips, on the spine, and how to use imagery a little more usefully so you can have movement feel good and improve how you're doing. And I had a question for you is, what is your current way of taking care of yourself or tending to your body now? If you could put that in the chat, that would be great. And what inspired you to show up today? If you could share that with me, that would be awesome. Walking, great. It's probably the best exercise we have. Cycling, walking, Pilates, swimming. Beautiful. Pilates and yoga and kickboxing, I like it. Self-massage, kayaking, walking, swimming, stretching, weights, dance. I love it. So with all of that, consider what I'm going to share with you today is a backdrop to help all of those events be even more skillful, where you can take tension out of your body. All of us, including me, live in a world now where we're spending a lot of time on the computer. We're spending a lot of time on Zoom, like today. And we can learn tools to help ourselves feel better and upgrade function when we combine a little bit of useful information with attention and regular movement practices that help your body feel better. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend our time doing that today. And we're going to start with standing. And I just want you to know when we do what we're about to do, that nothing we're going to do is dangerous or fast-paced. It's just going to be about feeling yourself, and I'll guide you through in a very systematic way, and we'll just take our time doing it. So we're going to start standing. I'm going to step away from the camera, and I'd like you to all stand if you can in your space, and then we'll work our way through.
So just make sure as you're finding a spot that you can see Tom.
Yeah, there we go. So before I step back, I want to show you something, because we're going to do some lessons about the feet. Now here's a foot for you. And why am I showing you the foot? Because the foot is very relevant to how we relate to this 24/7 relationship we have with gravity. Gravity is 24/7, and we want to be in harmony with any relationship that's 24/7. So in terms of your feet, what you want to know is there's 3 key weight-bearing points that you want to learn to stand on or become aware of when you're standing. And that is, number 1, the ball behind your big toe. Number 2, the ball behind your little toe. And number 3, the heel. So you can picture it like a triangle. So I'm just giving you that visual. So now you have a way to kind of think in your own mind about where they are and then how you're doing with that. So there's your visual aid of that. Let's come on up to standing when you guys are ready. Now take a moment and bring your feet about a foot apart in parallel, and just come into, so here we are, we're moving out of thinking and words and coming into feeling our body. And what I'd like you to do is just lift all 10 toes off the ground. And you'll notice when you do that, you can feel your foot points a little bit better. Then just lay your toes back down. Just do that a few times. And as you're doing it, unlock your knee joints. And see if you can bring the head right up over your spine. And again, lift them and lower them. Do that 2 more times. So we're just coming into the world of sensation and feeling. And lay them back down. Now, as you lay them down this time, lean a little forward on your feet. Come back to the center, lean back slightly. Come back to the center, lean to one side. Come back to the center, shift to your second side. Come back to the center. As you come to the middle, now see if you can start to feel, can I center my weight fairly evenly, 50-50 front to back, on those foot points, the heel and the 2 front foot points. Just notice in the beginning, is there one of those points that I'm tending to leave out? Okay, there they are, and your head right up over the spine. So now we've started our base of support in relationship to gravity, which gives the rest of our body the best opportunity to be in alignment. Now from here, we're going to go into a little concentration practice where we're just going to bring our attention to our body, and I'll guide you through it. So if you're open to it, you don't have to, you could do it with your eyes open, but if you're willing to, go ahead and close your eyes and take a few deeper than normal breaths through the nose. And on the exhale phase, let the weight settle down into your foot points and then lengthen and straighten through the crown of your head, like a light string is pulling the crown of your head up. Do that for a few breaths, and imagine you're not trying to overextend. We're just trying to create a sense of length in the spine, but also settle down into the foot points. And inside of settling, relax the muscles around your eyes. Relax the jaw at the hinge. Unlock the knees. And just get that sense that you can let your skeleton hold you up more than your muscles. So we're both settling and lengthening at the same time. So now we're in our vertical line. So this is just a place to start, and you can do this any time of day of just coming into your vertical line. And this is also from a somatic perspective. Somatic means the life in its wholeness, our body, mind, and spirit in its wholeness. You're coming into your line of dignity. Dignity actually, you could say, has a shape. So we're just tapping into that as a starting place. Now we're going to go through some movements as a guide to introduce you to imagery. So now when you bend your knees, I'd like you to slide your shoulders straight up. And as you lengthen your legs, let the shoulders drop and see the spine get a little longer. And again, shoulders lift, shoulders lower. And one more time, shoulders lift, shoulders lower. So I'm going to pose a question to you here. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being kind of crappy, 10 being amazing, how would you rate your shoulder lifting and lowering experience? I can't see because I'm standing back, but just, say that out loud to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 8, so we're going to be all over the map. So the next question that I'd like to ask you is, do you believe you could do it better? Even 1%. And just say that to yourself, okay, yeah, I think I could do it better. Most of us will say, yeah, I have that ability. So let's go it again. Let's just do it again, and just with that intention of doing it better. So let's bend and lift and lower. Bend and lift and lower. And one more time, bend and lift and lower. So the $1 million question, did I achieve my goal of making a little bit better? Even a little bit. And then the question to ask yourself is, what did you do to make it better? And usually what we tend to use is, I brought more attention to it. I used my breathing. I slowed down. I focused on how I wanted my shoulders to feel. So what that's a demonstration of is we already have the ability to create positive change, but we tend to do it randomly instead of systematically. So think of in terms of your body, you want to systematically use tools to help you guide yourself in a direction of what you're actually looking for. So in terms of the body, one thing you could think about in terms of your shoulders, you could start with, how would I like my shoulders to feel? So this is called positive self-talk. So we could start with, I'll just give you a suggestion. How about smooth, fluid shoulders? So when we do the movement, I want you to think, just use that image, see if it works for you, that internal, we'll call that positive self-talk, of smooth, fluid shoulders while we're doing the exercise. So go ahead and bend and lift. Smooth, fluid shoulders going up. Smooth, fluid shoulders going down. And again, smooth, fluid shoulders going up. Smooth, fluid shoulders going down. And one more, smooth, fluid shoulders going up. Smooth, fluid shoulders going down. Notice that probably felt a little bit different, hopefully in the right direction. Now I'm going to give you the other thing that we do a lot in the Franklin method, or even the way that I teach, is we use metaphorical, our anatomical images. So this is a picture of your shoulder blade that's on the back. The thing about giving you an anatomical cue is I want to show you where that part of your anatomy is before I give you an anatomical cue. Otherwise, it can put you into a little bit of confusion. So I just want you to picture on each side of your upper back as you have these triangle-shaped shoulder blades, and they're designed to slide on your rib cage. So you've got that image, you got this on each side of your upper back. So this is another way that we can use our brain and body anatomically, using an image of how that part of the body is designed to move. So now with your arms by your side, picture those two triangles on your upper back. Now, as you bend the knees, see those triangles sliding up on your back. Now see them sliding down on your back as the head floats up. And again, they slide up on the back. And they slide down on the back, down, down, down. And one more time, they slide up. And they slide down, 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 down. Notice just from that how we're doing with our chest and shoulders. Very simple movement, but the change and the power is in how we're doing it and where we're putting our attention. Another version, metaphorical image. Imagine your two shoulder blades are slippery bars of soap that smell your best smelling soap you've ever seen in your life. You're like, the stuff you really like in your bathroom. You go, oh my God, I love that smell. It just puts me in a good shape, in a good space. And I want you to see your shoulder blades. There's two bars of soap sliding up on the rib cage as the shoulders lift. Then as they slide down, 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 down. You could even see them lathering the rib cage. Notice, is it possible even to notice a smell? And they glide down, 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 down. So now we're bringing our attention to a metaphorical image to create a positive change. Now, the elephant in the room is this next one that I'm going to show you. And this next one I'm going to show you 60 to 80% of the time, science says that we tend to lean in this direction. So as we do the movement, I'm going to talk out loud. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. And I want you to consider, what type of imagery is Tom talking about now? So as I bend the knees, you're going to lift the shoulders up. God, I hate this movement. My neck is just full of knots. This guy is weird. When are we going to do something? Oh, I thought we were going to do something for my lower back. God, I hope this is over soon. Oh, I just have rusty nails in my neck. Ugh. Glad that's over. So that's an example of negative self-talk or negative imagery. And we tend to, because we're tending to look for the threat based on our survival instincts, we tend to look to where to worry about. That's kind of built into our system. So we need to build that part of the brain that focuses on a positive experience and a positive outcome. And we can use imagery for that. And it creates a change right away, like you just noticed. Now let's go back to a positive imagery. We can go with the anatomical, the mood words, or the bars of soap. And I'll let you decide which one worked for you that you'd like to stay with. I like the positive self-talk around how I like my shoulders to feel. So as they go up, fluid, easeful shoulders going up. Fluid, easeful shoulders gliding down. And one more time, they glide up. And they glide down, 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 down. Now we're going to go right into another term or way to help your body feel better called improving your proprioception. So proprioception is just a big word that means to know where you are in space. It's related to tension levels, effort, position, quality of movement, all related to proprioception. And we can enhance it with this simple tool. So bring up one of your arms and just tap all sides of the arm. Under your arm, around your neck on that side, all sides of the arm. So now we're waking up the brain-body link to your nervous system. And the body is designed to be efficient. The nervous system is always looking for a better way if we give it the information, if we give it the opportunity to notice. That's the big deal. You know, in our world today, especially in the fitness world, we tend to focus a lot on strength. But I recommend efficiency over strength, because if you're not very efficient, you tend to have less than optimal mechanics and use just too much effort, and you wear your body out faster. Now from there, I want you to find your clavicle right in the front and slide your hand over the top onto your shoulder muscle. Now coming back to your imagery, I want you to imagine you're holding a big juicy sponge. We tend to all carry tension up here. Now as you lift the shoulder up with your knees bent, squeeze the water out of the sponge. Now let the shoulder drop as you release the squeeze. Just picture it's filling again with fresh water. And again, lift and squeeze. And then let it spread and drop. Now this next time, lift, squeeze, and hold. Slowly turn your head from side to side. Feel the effect on your neck. And release. One more time, lift, squeeze, and hold. Nod your head front to back. Fluid glide of your head on the spine. And release. Now slide your hand down onto your shoulder muscle that's right at the top of your arm and just sponge your way down the arm. Bicep, tricep, forearm, your hand. And now from your neck to your fingers, just brush down your arm. Great thing to do this. If you're spending a lot of time sitting, get up and go through this process we're doing. You'll find it super useful. Now take a moment to compare. Now you might notice that that arm feels longer. You can see mine actually looks longer. The shoulder's more dropped. Take the arm in front of you. You might notice the arm is longer. And just notice when you lift the arm overhead, how does it feel, the range of motion and ease in comparison to the side you haven't done yet? You might notice more fluid, more easeful. So you just let go of unnecessary tension and the brain got that message, oh, I can let that go. That's not useful for me. Really good strategy to do something to let go of tension before you do strength training exercises. So let's do side two. Let's tap. All sides, and it feels good. Letting go of tension improves your posture, improves your energy level, because muscles have to be used when they're tense. That's burning a lot of gas under your arm, up around your neck. Here we go. And these can be independent of working out. You can do these just as an embodiment break for yourself any time of day. Now from there, find your clavicle on that side, slide your hand over your shoulder, rest the hand on the muscle and let the arm be heavy, unlock your knees. Again, you're holding that big juicy sponge. And as you lift the shoulder up, squeeze the water out of the sponge and then let it drop. Can be useful to add your breathing. Inhale as you lift and squeeze. Exhale, let it drop. This next time, we're going to lift, squeeze, and hold. Lift, squeeze, and hold. Rotate your head side to side. Fluid. And release. One more time. Lift, squeeze, and hold. Nod your head front to back. And release. Now slide your hand down onto your shoulder muscles. Sponge your way down. Feel how nice that feels to sponge your own body. Who says you need a massage? Massages are great, but you can also help yourself. There we go. Now from there, the last one, brush. Neck to fingertips. Sloughing it off. And then take that moment to notice and compare. Notice the difference. Notice your weight on your feet. You might notice you're more open across the chest. Your shoulders are more dropped. Notice how it feels in your neck when you turn your head. Very simple, straightforward, super useful. Now let's tap the torso. Let's tap upper chest area. Also, your big pumps are up here, your heart and lung. And then tap the midsection, abdominal muscles, also your digestive organs. You're just waking up your body, giving it that proprioceptive feedback. And then right around the lower back part of your rib cage is where your kidneys are. It's really a nice idea to vibrate your kidneys, especially from the principles of Oriental medicine. They think it's a good idea. It's like where your chi comes from. That's from their principles. That's what they believe. So with soft fists, bent knees, tap around that area and let's make a little noise to vibrate the kidneys. Tap down to the back of your pelvis and back to your ribs a couple times. Now tap down the outer borders of your hips, all the way down to your ankles, up the front of your legs, down the back of your legs, up your inseams, And one more time, outer, front, back, inseams. And then last one, tap your head. All sides of your head with your fingertips. Tap your face. Give your ears a pull. Ah. And then shake out your limbs. Now we're going to go right into a lesson on your hip joints, one of the primary joints in your body for movement, for level changes, for getting up and down, for running, walking, climbing stairs, posture. So what I'd like you to do is, let me show you really quickly where that is. Oh, little bone drop there. I always have a spare pelvis. So here's a model of the pelvis. We'll go into more detail if you decide to take the course. Let's just give you a visual. On your pelvis is you have two pelvic halves. It's called the ilia, one on each side. You can see how they're kind of shaped like a propeller. And then in the back, you have what's called your sacrum. And where the sacrum and the pelvis meet is called your SI joints, your sacroiliac joint. And that joint, the sacrum is functionally part of your spine, but anatomically part of the spine, but functionally part of your pelvis. These joints are designed to move a little bit. Then in the front, you have your pubic symphysis, where the two bones come together. And there's a little bit of movement in the pelvis. But then the primary joint where you have movement is the hip joint itself. That's where your legs meet the body. So knowing where location is, like understanding where to improve function, you want to understand location and what the movements that happen there are. And then when we practice, that's where you want to put your attention. So I'm going to show you how to find that really quick. This is just to give you a visual. So I want you to put your hands right in the front of your pelvis at your pubic bone level, and then bend your knees slightly. Now slide your hands straight out to the side at that level. Make sure you don't go up at your pubic bone level. Go straight out. You're going to run into a hard bone. And that hard bone is the outer border of your thigh. It's called your greater trochanter. So you can see it. It's out here. Why is that important? Because that's not where your leg meets your body, but that's the top of your leg. So what you want to do is put your thumbs on those 2 points. Greater trochanter. Now bend your knees and stick your tail out the back a little bit. So a crease happens in the front, and let your first finger come across the crease about 3 inches and put your first finger in the crease and then stand back up. Now picture directly behind your fingers is where the legs meet your pelvis. That's where your hip joint is. Why is that important? That's also where the weight of the upper body lands on your legs. That's where the movement's designed to happen. So when we bring our attention to this, we can improve the function of our hips, improve our lower back, improve our posture, our balance, and move better through using simple movements. So come back, just feel that. Now come back to feeling your 3 foot points on the ground. And just imagine the first movement option right there is to lift your knee. So if I lifted my knee, the ball of the femur would roll back in the socket right behind my fingers. So do that a few times on each side at your own pace. We're going to go relatively quick because we have limited time today. Just feel that as you lift, oh, the ball is there. It's not out here. It's right behind my fingers, rolling back in the socket. And then notice, can you lift the knee without changing the shape of your spine? And then notice, can you relax your shoulders and your neck? Have a little bit of a smile because you're saying, oh my God, this is going to be so good for me. Holy crap. Simple pleasures. So if you imagine the ball of your femur, the ball is literally a ball. When you lift your knee, the ball rolls back in the socket. So imagine just with your finger, mirror that, mirror the ball rolling back and rolling forward on each side. You can even put the hands out here. So what you're doing is you're not just improving the mechanics of your hips, you're lubricating the joint, you're bringing nutrition to the joint, and you're bringing together your attention, good body mechanics, and embodying your design. Now, the other option, there's several movements. This is just all the same first movement. Take your leg out to the side and picture the ball rolls in towards the middle. Now take the leg to the back and see the ball rolling forward. Notice you don't have to change the shape of your lower back when you move just in the socket. Very important to your walking. One more time on that side, the ball rolls back. The ball rolls in. The ball rolls forward. Let's go right into side two. The ball rolls back. The ball rolls in. Do this one a couple times. So we did a few on the other side. Feel that? Really great. So this is called differentiating your leg from your pelvis, which helps you put a lot less pressure on your lower back. Now roll it to the front. Fluid. So the more you start to understand your own body, you get much more curious and interested. This is what I've found with everybody I've worked with on the benefits of simple movements. Now let's put them all together. Ball rolls back. Ball rolls in. Ball rolls forward. Second side, ball rolls back. Ball rolls in. Ball rolls forward. One more each side. Ball rolls back. In. Forward. Back. In. Forward. So that's just the first movement option in your hips. Second movement option is to take your pelvis and tip it over your legs. So we just did this. Now you're going to do this, but it's at the same location. So if you don't know the location, your tendency is to overdo it in the lower back or use too much force up top. So put your fingers there, unlock your knees. Now picture, this is the level of the bottom of your spine. So you don't need to round your back. So imagine you're going to tip the pelvis over the top of your legs at that place, then press evenly into your foot points to come back up. Then again, hinge forward and hinge back up. Hinge forward. Notice, can you do it and relax your neck and shoulders? No need to keep your legs locked. Now, the way you can tell if you're doing it right or not, if you're doing it optimally, put one hand on your lower back and notice when you're standing, your lower back has a natural indent. That's the curve of the spine. You want to maintain that. If you feel your lower back flattening, you could actually hinge at your hips better. So as you're hinging, feel how you don't really need to flatten your lower back too much. The hinge is lower. It's down at the hip joint level. That's it. Do a couple more like that. So if you feel like you're flattening out, bend your knees more and stick your butt out more. That's it. One more. Super valuable. Now you'll notice that because we're an upright animal, and we have to walk on two legs, four-legged animals can absorb force on all four. We have to do it on two. We have a mobile pelvis. Only animal on the planet that has a mobile pelvis. And why is that so? Well, we all came from out of here with our mom. We have big heads. And the pelvis uses 3 dimensions to absorb force when we're walking, and there's a counter movement when you walk. The body's brilliantly designed to absorb force and transfer it if we're moving well and we're well aligned. Those are the big ifs. So when you hinge, just like when you squat, the bottom of the pelvis is designed to widen. So I'd like you to just touch this part of your pelvis. Touch your sit bones, which are right at the bottom of your butt, where your hamstrings attach. Just feel those bones. Unlock your knees. Now, as you tip forward, just notice that those bones will start to widen away from each other if you stick your butt out. And as you come up, notice they narrow. And then just do it where you don't have to hold it, because it might be a little difficult to hold, but notice if you follow that rhythm, now you're focusing on improving function in the moment while you're moving. Sit bones widen. Sit bones narrow. They widen and they narrow. And you might notice right away that the movement gets easier. Now, if you're in question, if you think, I don't believe that's happening, try the opposite. Keep your sit bones narrow and tip over your legs. No, really. Keep going. You'll notice you can't. So whenever you're in question, Do the opposite of what I'm telling you, just to check it out, just to see what it feels like for you. Let your body teach you. You'll notice there's a big difference. So we've done 2 movements so far. We've done the hip joint here. We've done the hinge. And now the last one we're going to do is the squat. And when you squat's pretty relevant for all of us, primary movement in life. Both bones move on each other, but you want to get the feeling that you're still moving at the hip joint. So let's put our fingers back where we were. Feel your 3 foot points. Now, as you bend your legs, imagine you're riding down on the top of your legs. And right from where you're touching, straighten your legs. It goes nice and slow. That's it. Notice that you can bend and stretch without tensing the neck or the shoulders. Now, to improve it, take your hands like this and picture the bottom of your hand is the sit bone level. This is the shape of your 2 pelvic halves. When you bend your legs, the bottom of the pelvis widens. As you straighten, it narrows. See if you can feel that. Nice and fluid all the way through. Feel your foot points. This is how you improve squatting. It's not about numbers of how many you do, but if you're into getting more conditioned and doing a set of numbers, focus on the quality and you get way more out of it and you leave yourself feeling more functional, strong, and not exhausted. 1 more. And you build less tension. Let's finish with going back to the first movement. Lifting the knees, femur rolls back. And then to the side, femur rolls in. To the front, femur rolls forward. How do you get better at doing this? Doing it often. With your attention. It's relevant to everything how we use our body. Now let's tip the pelvis over the legs. Come back up. Feel the bottom of the pelvis widen. And then narrow. Widen. And then narrow. Then again, we'll finish with the squat as you bend. And lift. Bend. And lift. And just 2 more. And 1. Now, because you know where the legs meet the body now, it'll make it easier for you to move the pelvis and spine on the top of the legs. So we're going to go through movements with the spine now. So I want you to picture when you're standing, put your hands on the sides of your hips and picture that your pelvis is a wheel. Heads over your pelvis. Now picture you're going to roll the wheel back and then roll the wheel forward. So notice when you roll the wheel back, you're lengthening your lower back. When you roll the wheel forward, you're lengthening the front of your abdomen and spine. That's it. Now roll the wheel forward or roll it back, hold it, touch your front low ribs. Now sink your ribs in so you feel your abdominal muscles working more and you feel a bigger stretch in your lower back. Now in this position, feel how the bottom of your pelvis is narrow, just like you did a moment ago. Now tip the pelvis forward, let the front of the spine lengthen. So now what we're doing is we're getting the muscles in the joints in the lower back to move more. The spine has over 100 joints when you include the ribs, and all those little muscles and joints need lubrication. They're synovial joints. So you want to move the spine every day, at least once if possible, through its full range. Now come into the curl, hold the curl. We're going to add the shoulders. Ribs are sink down. Now roll the shoulders in. That's it. Now reach the tail back, shoulders back, and slide your heart forward and up. And again, curl head and tail forward, waistline back, tail back, shoulders back, heart lifts. Nice and fluid. So now we're moving the spine through this plane of motion, which this front to back motion. Get the joints to move, the shoulders and the hips. Great way just to lubricate your spine and restore function to the muscles on each side of your spine, especially if you're spending a lot of time sitting, which is everybody. 1 more. Now, as you lengthen up, we're going to go into what's lateral flexion, which is called side bending. So with your knees bent, just side bend to one side. Now press into your foot points and come back up. Side bend to your second side. Press into the ground to come back up. Notice that you can stay nice and fluid. Now you're opening up your lower back and the joints along the spine in this plane of motion, which they're designed to do. In the course, if you decide to join us, we'll go into more detail, and then we'll include more conditioning exercises with a few props that I'll show you after. That's it. One more each side. And now we're going to go into rotation. So think of rotation mainly in your spine happens from the rib cage up. The lower back, because of the way the joints are, is really not designed to rotate. So you don't want to try to force that. So with your, right from here up, imagine your hips and knees stay straight ahead like headlights. You either bring your hands to your shoulders or cross your arms across the front if this is more comfortable. Now, nice and slow, turn from the rib cage up, keeping your hips and knees relatively straight ahead like headlights. And start to feel that you can relax the top of your shoulders. You can add a little bit of a smile because you're saying, oh my God, I'm giving to my spine. This is really good. And then think for yourself, how do I want my spine to feel? How about spacious, youthful, organized? You can even go even bigger. So how about a sexy spine? I'm down with that. Nice and smooth. One more each way. Now come back to the center. We're going to go through the whole sequence one more time. This is your homework at least once a day for the rest of your life. So with your knees bent, curl the tail forward, sink the ribs in, roll the shoulders in. Now right here, notice there might be a tendency to lift your shoulders up. That's me fighting gravity. Keep them dropped. As you reach the tail back, shoulders back, slide the heart forward and up. Start to feel the muscles in the middle of your upper back working. Exhale to curl. Inhale to open. Exhale to curl. No strain, smooth, fluid. 2 more times. And 1. Now this next time, as we come to do the lateral flexion, we're going to shift the weight onto your right leg and take your left leg out to the side. This leg is bent. Now, when you take your leg out to the side, you'll get a little more range of motion in your lower back, but make it as small as you need to. Now slide that left arm down your left leg and then come back up. We're going to do 4 times on that one side. Slide it down and come back up. Just 2 more. And 1. Come back up, go to side 2. Slide down. And come back up, slide down, and come back up. Just 2 more, down, and come back up. And last time, come back up. Now bring your hands either back to the front or shoulders. Bend the knees, roll the shoulders back. Hips and knees straight ahead like headlights from the bottom of your rib cage. Turn. This time, look back as you turn. So you start to feel a little more of those muscles close to your spine and your upper back. Smooth breathing, relax the tops of your shoulders. Feel your foot points. Couple more each way. That's it, very nice. Come back to center, shake that out for a moment. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling in your spine and your body. A little more energized, really useful to do often. Now take your feet shoulder width apart, turn your feet out at 10 and 2 o'clock. Now in this position, we're going to do what's called a plie into a squat. Plie means it's just like a knee bend where you stay more vertical. So now as you bend, stay vertical and straighten. Feel your feet stay equally pressurized. Feel the bottom of the pelvis widen. Now bend and hold. Bring your elbows in close with your palms facing up. Now imagine the movement again is just from the rib cage up. Turn and press from the right to the left, back to center, and then left to right. Stay nice and low in your body. Now imagine on that pressing side, you're keeping the shoulder low. So when you press, you're not letting the shoulder elevate. So you start to feel the muscles in your torso working from the underside of your shoulder and tying into your abdomen. Just have that thought, okay, I'll play with that. Now come back up, straighten your legs for a moment, then bend again. Now we're going to do a nice movement that really will help to open up the lower back a little bit more. Take your right arm overhead, Now, nice and slow, side bend to the left, but take the left arm across the midline. Now, just from your rib cage up, slowly spiral forward. Feel that nice stretch in your lower back. Come back to the side and lengthen up. Take up your left arm. Side bend, spiral forward. Back to side and lengthen up. Let's do that one more time each side. Side bend left, reach across to the left. Spiral forward. Back to side and lengthen up. Last time. Side bend. Spiral forward. Back to side and lengthen up. Walk it in a little bit. Have your feet right under you. Take a moment to notice alignment, posture, breathing. Now we're just going to do a couple more movements, then we'll come back together. We're going to do a spinal roll down. So you listen to your own body when you roll down through your spine. You can make it really small. So you're going to start with your feet again, 6 inches to a foot apart. Bend your knees and center the weight on your feet. And imagine your head, your rib cage, and your pelvis are against an imaginary wall. Now, nice and slow, starting from your head, peel the head off the wall. Then your upper back, your mid back, keep your shoulders and arms relaxed. Now, when you get there, start to watch, see, and image your pelvis rolling over the top of your legs. You decide how far do you want to go down that's comfortable for your body. Now, at the bottom, feel the weight of your head and nod it yes a few times. Rotate it a few times. Take a breath now, press evenly into both your feet and feel the bottom of the pelvis starting to narrow as you slowly stack your spine and let the head be the last thing up into a lying posture. Let's do that one more time. Small leg bend, top down flexion, fluid, easeful. Feel how the muscles that are stretching is what's controlling the body. They're decelerating you. That's mainly what your muscles do. Take a breath at the bottom. Long exhale from the bottom up. Slowly stacks. This time, see if you can keep your arms and shoulders even more relaxed as you restack. Come back to the center. And just take a moment to notice alignment, state of mind, ease. Now we're going to come back and come to a seated position. I just want to show you something to leave you with something you can do seated before we come back as a group to talk. So when you're sitting, the sit bones at the bottom of the pelvis, we want to sit on them like we're right in the middle of them. So if I'm sitting and I'm like behind my sit bones, now my head's going to be forward. There's no way that I can improve my posture. So if I rock up onto the center of my sit bones, think of posture when you're sitting starts from your pelvis. Then you can center your head over your pelvis and your upper body can be relaxed. So let's just take a moment and I want you to touch these two bones at the bottom of your pelvis with your fingers. So just feel, oh, there they are. Feel those bones at the bottom of your pelvis. Just take a moment. Okay, yep, those are my sit bones. And picture the sit bones are shaped like a canoe. So what you want to be is you don't want to be in the back of the canoe. You want to be back here. So it's just rock on them front to back a few times. Now find the center of the sit bones. That's it. So now you're aligned in gravity. Now we're going to add something with your upper body. So now that you're sitting up on your sit bones, center your head over your pelvis. Let your arms hang. Now take the shoulders up, back. Now as the exhale, as the shoulders glide down, imagine the crown of the head is floating up. And again, shoulders go forward and up. On the back and down, imagine the crown of the head going up. Then add a little bit of a smile for your compadres and for our time together as they're gliding down. One more time. You can do this any time of day. Now this time as you glide them down, keep them down, press the arms slightly back to turn on the muscles under your arms. Now keeping your neck long, slowly turn your head to one side. Back to center, second side, and release. Two more times, shoulders up, back. Now as they glide down, reach down. Imagine the crown of the head going up. So you've got a aligned posture, toned upper back. Turn your head to one side, center, second side, and release. And one more, shoulders forward and up and back. Glide down, the crown of the head floats up. Hold, turn, center, turn, center. And then just let your hands rest in your lap and just notice that you can let the breathing drop lower in your body. You can center your head over your pelvis and just notice easeful alignment. You can do this any time of day. I highly recommend it. You notice the mind will start to calm down, and then we can take on our next task from a resourceful place. Let's come back together and we'll just talk a little bit. Thanks, you guys.
Tom, that was awesome. I'm going to come up here just for a second. I'll throw it in the gallery view, everybody. How you guys feeling? Good. I see some very relaxed, smiley faces and a lot of thumbs up for you, Tom.
Thank you.
That was the best thing for my body in a long time. Thank you, Tom. The chat. There was an interesting question that I wanted to bring up. Feel free to pop any of your questions in the chat. I hope you guys are feeling amazing. One question that came up, Tom, is what happens if you have one hip that's taller than the other, or you feel like you're already off balance or crooked? A couple of people were commenting about that, so I'd love to hear your answer.
That's a great question. So think of, we're all a little bit crooked. So the only way to create the ability to move more towards feeling more balanced is to notice what our current pattern is. We're all handed, like I'm strongly left-handed. I played sports a lot in my youth. So we all have that. And the only way to correct that is to give our nervous system a better choice. But first to notice, oh, this is what I tend to do. And then to start from the ground up of noticing, oh, become curious about how you're weight bearing on your feet, because I guarantee you that high hip is also affecting how you weight bearing differently on each foot, how you shift your weight, how it translates up the spine. So think of this as a really good question that leads into when we use an understanding of our own body, then when we do our own personal practices, it becomes more about what our pattern is and what do I do, not just what are the perfect exercises, because there are no perfect exercises. There's how you do the exercise and your attention while you're doing it and your own understanding of your own body. So there's many exercises that are good for you. But if you start to use your practice as a way to have more wisdom about your own body and honor it wherever you are, based on your history, we all carry our history with us. If you can just go, okay, yeah, I'm noticing my hips a little forward and not judge it, because that's just really good information. And now you take that into the next piece. Okay, how do I balance that? We'll get more into balancing that if you decide to take the course, but you just bringing your attention to noticing it is giving you the possibility to create a change, which is really, that's the beginning of it all right there. We have to think of, in reality, we have to be our own advocate and we have to learn skills to self-correct. And our body is something we haven't been taught to do that. So you could call it even physical hygiene. Like, so how do I apply that knowledge to any exercise system I'm doing, instead of just thinking, oh, I'm just going to push until things break and then I'm done. So in my support to all of you is that to have the notion or the belief, or be open to the belief that movement can feel really good. And I think your exercise system should be something you look forward to instead of, oh, I got to go do that thing again. So if you consider it that way. One thing I wanted to say to you about it is, I had something I wrote down about embodiment, is you could say energy follows attention and choice follows awareness. So whatever you put your attention on is bringing energy to that. And it's also increasing your awareness of that area of the body. So we've added in some useful information that'll help you hold your attention on how your body's designed. And then you can apply that to improving and upgrading each area of the body in a very systematic, skillful, safe way. And then it becomes a little more interesting. And I think you'll find for the rest of our lives, for all of us, there's no reason why we can't become more skillful in our body. I'm not saying that we need to be as strong as we were when we were 20, but I don't think at this point for most people that their goal is to push a wheelbarrow up a hill. It's really to like, how do I make my body feel good, function, so I can do the things in my life in a full-on way and be more fulfilled and take that into every endeavor that I'm doing. And that's my support to all of you. And that's my inspiration as a teacher, is to help people live their life in a very meaningful way, but include the body.
I'm going to jump in. That's so good. So we just have 5 minutes left. Tom had a couple questions he wanted to have you guys answer now that you're feeling better. You're warmed up for your class. Awesome. So the questions Tom wanted to ask you guys is, what is your key takeaway from today? Can you believe we've already been through an hour? What was your key takeaway today? And what's most important to you now going forward? And while you guys are filling that in, I just wanted to share, Tom has been one of the most generous teachers. So in the chat, we put in, Tom created a free 5-video series where he went into some of those exercises that you saw in a specific detail in one short video that you can watch on your own over and over. This is on his own webpage. It's so awesome. So be sure to check that out. Tom also created for free, like a morning routine, some of the things that you just did today, kind of put together in one recording that you can either listen to or watch and try, multiple days in a row. So we're so grateful for all of the gifts that we wanted to make sure you guys have. So I'm going to throw those in the chat one more time so that you see them. And then Tom will let you kind of comment on some of the awesome reflections that are coming here, how we're doing a morning routine, but adding other elements. I'm grateful to listen to my body. Yes, anatomy is really important. So great job, everybody.
No, and I want you guys to know from an anatomy perspective, what you were just doing is different than topographical anatomy. So topographical anatomy is when we can look at an anatomy book and go, okay, there's my femur, there's my abdominal muscles. That's somewhat useful, but it doesn't necessarily lead to you using your body better. What we just did was embodied anatomy, where you got an understanding and then you went through movements of that area in real time and practice it. And that's much more practical for your well-being, to combine those two. And that's actually one of my goals in life, is to have people learn how to do that on a daily basis, so you can shift your mood, shift your state, and improve your quality of life at your own pace.
And I see, Kathleen, you were talking about dealing with recent injuries and how to improve your mobility. That's certainly a big one, Tom, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, for us to help our injury, it's not about this perfect set of exercises. There are recommended exercises for each area of the body that we will go through in the course, but it's more, if you can bring together your attention and how the body's designed, you just get so much better results, and you can help yourself at any point in time. And I think that's actually relevant for all of us.
Yep, Phyllis, for sure. A midday break. So we just have a couple minutes left. The virtual course that Tom put together is over 4 Wednesdays. And for those of you who are in the Asia Pacific Australia region, you're in luck, because it's at the same time as this. I'm seeing the thumbs up. So tell all your friends that we are putting together things, of course, to accommodate those of us in North America to do this in the evening or end of the day, and for our friends in Asia Pacific to come in the morning. So it'll be 4 Wednesdays, or for APAC Thursdays in a row for 90 minutes. So today was a 60-minute just introduction for you to get a sense of Tom, to get a sense of his work. The workshop will be 4 90-minute sessions in a row, very much like this, but kind of diving into some specific areas of your body. And then he'll have some resources for you. And there's a couple of props that Tom recommends that you have. There we go. You want to quick talk about the props?
So these are called Franklin balls. And this is in the link if you decide to take the course. And these are super useful tools for you to work with your feet, your pelvis, and your spine to relieve tension. They're used as a fulcrum. They're used as a massage tool, but they're super valuable in combination with what we're going to do. And you also want to have a TheraBand. So we'll use both TheraBand and Franklin balls. And we'll do each section of the body. For the first week will be the feet, the pelvis, and centering, which we didn't do a lot of centering today. That's a somatic practice around. We did a little bit of it, but it's organized around 4 principles of length, width, depth, and purpose. We'll combine that with what we're doing. The second lesson will be on the spine and breathing. Teach you some great understanding and tools for that. The third one will be on the shoulders and the neck. And the fourth one will be an integration of them all. And I hope you join. And if not,
it's going to be awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for coming. And of course, Tom will be in Baja for an entire week. So those of you who are feeling like this is the thing you need, great. If nothing else, you got this great hour to feel good, and go get your free gifts to spend some more time with Tom in your own time. Great. Oh, quickly, do you prefer smooth or textured Franklin balls, Tom?
I like the smooth one. The textured ones are fine, but they also can leave pock marks on you. They're like little moxibustion, that is. So it's like, you know, they're okay if you like that, but I think these are more general multi-dimensional ones that you'll get the most out of. But great question. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to thank Tom personally, and have a wonderful rest of your day and evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
very much, Tom.
It was awesome.
Joining everybody.
Thank you.
Many thanks, Tom.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My wife
Everybody.
likes
Thank
you
you,
too.
Tom.
Thank you, guys.
See
Be
you
well,
soon.
everybody. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Be well, you guys.